Binh Hùng Park is located in the heart of Biên Hòa City, Đồng Nai province. In a normal day like every day, we saw visitors from a distant country. Perhaps they are not the tourists exploring the new lands, but having much emotional feelings here. It's surprising to learn that the woman having pretty face, handicapped legs that we see is Heather A. Bosher. Heather A. Bosher's journey to Vietnam, to Biên Hòa City, will be a very long, poignant, and touching story. Since her birth in Westerville Village, Ohio, USA, Heather A. Bosher has not been like other normal children. Her childhood also suffered from complex and sadness due to her abnormal body. But the family's misfortune did not stop there. The younger brothers of Heather have been born deformed, very feeble, and did not live much longer after birth. Her father, William A. Moritz, originally does not like war, but only wished to learn to become a mechanic. In 1967, he was forced to join the U.S. Army and was sent to Vietnam. His work was exposing and moving the chemical tanks that Americans call herbicides at Long Binh Depot to a plane to spread in southern Vietnam. This obsession is heavy and terrible to the end of his life. The war in Vietnam has robbed me of many precious things. My father was a soldier exposed to Agent Orange and dies after serving in the U.S. Army in Long Binh Depot. The days after that, my family was struggling with life. I was born 2 months earlier and my body is disabled. So when thinking about the war in Vietnam, I'm always concerned. Waking up every morning, I see imperfections on my body. I was horrified by the terrible consequences of Agent Orange. It has devastated my body, my family, and so many other victims. For the first time in October 2010, Heather A. Bosher arrived in Depot Long Binh of Biên Hòa City, Đồng Nai province, with the pictures left by her father. The American soldier in the photo is Private William A. Moritz. If he were alive, he might be surprised to learn that his daughter has an urgent feeling to go back to find out where her father stationed. Heather also wanted to better understand what made her beloved father wrote these words behind this picture when he was only 26. One day I will not have to wear this uniform again. One day everyone in the world will see our mistakes and put the weapons down, lift off the uniform, hope to live in peace. The place she came today has no vestige of the wartime. A vocational school for students is built, and in here, the second-generation victims of Agent Orange of Đồng Nai province are trained the vocational training. She met one of the victims of the Agent Orange, who is Nguyễn Thị Ngọc Diễm. Diễm is the child of an ordinary family living in Bình Sơn Commune, Long Thành district, one of the places was sprayed herbicides by the U.S. to destroy human lives and plants. Ngọc Diễm's hometown still has 50 Agent Orange contaminated families. Two victims living halfway around the world met each other has become the living proof of the harmful effects of toxic chemicals sprayed by the U.S. military on many areas of Vietnam. They have the same pain. From this script, Heather understands that Agent Orange toxic used by the U.S. military in the Vietnam War had made many American military families and the people of Vietnam suffer from severe consequences. Her father was an American soldier stationed in Long Binh Depot in the period of 1967 to 1970. He also could not believe that what he did caused many long-term painfulness, not only for himself, but also for many families. According to an incomplete statistics, currently, Vietnam has over 4 million people exposed to Agent Orange, dioxin. Particularly, Đồng Nai province initially have about 13,000 people. And across the world, in the U.S., there are many families like Private William A. Morris family also suffer the pain of Agent Orange. Heather was not alone because she established a website having the message of love sharing with contaminated Agent Orange victims around the world. Thousands of people have supported her in the struggle for justice for victims of Agent Orange in many countries around the world. Heather's mental pain is eased because she has a loving husband sharing with her. He is Mr. Aaron Boucher. He is present in Heather's journeys to Vietnam. He is always accompanying her to the places having victims of Agent Orange in many parts of the world. It is difficult for Heather to make every step, but she tries to visit the babies who are the victims of Agent Orange at Hòa Bình Village, Từ Dũ Hospital in Ho Chi Minh City. She met friends, though they can't speak her language, but they have one common empathy. They have a common pain in their bodies, and Heather remembers her childhood. In the depths of her heart, Heather wants to do something to help the babies. Vietnamese women who are victims suffering the consequences caused by the U.S. military. Heather desired not only in Vietnam, but also in the U.S., Japan, South Korea, the future generations will no longer bear babies contaminated Agent Orange as she is. Childhood is the most difficult period in my life. Unlike the victims of Agent Orange in Biên Hòa, where a peer community lives together, in the U.S., Agent Orange victims are isolated in different regions. I do not have friends to share, to empathize. When I grew up, I turned it into motivation and I offer my whole life to do something to help the victims of Agent Orange, to alleviate the difficulties. My desire is to come to all the victims of Agent Orange in Vietnam, the U.S., Guam, Australia, South Korea, and Okinawa in Japan. It has been over 50 years since the day the U.S. military sprayed 80 million liters of toxic chemicals on many territories of Vietnam. Today, this S-shaped country still suffers the burden of environmental pollution, health illnesses for several Vietnamese generations. Hither came to a hotspot of high level of Agent Orange pollution or dioxin, Biên Hòa Airport. Her hard footsteps, her rise on the ragged grass, and her sweat in the sunny dry season. Hither somewhat understand the brutality of the toxic chemicals which the U.S. military call herbicides. In the years from 1968 to 1970, this is the main base of French hand and Pays IV campaign. There were more than 98,000 types of 205 substances of Agent Orange, 45,000 barrels of white substance, 16,000 barrels of green one stored here, and more than 11,000 barrels of herbicide were transported from Biên Hòa Airport in Pays IV campaign. At the time Hither came to Biên Hòa Airport in 2011, Vietnam Department of Defense has newly processed the dioxin zones with an area of 43,000 square meters with landfilling method. This means that only one small section of land and mud in the airport are processed. More polluted locations with a dioxin level of 409,000 are still not processed. One day at the end of August 2012, Heather and a friend, Gina Mark, an Agent Orange victims of the third generation U.S. nationality, came to share with those living near Biên Hòa Airport because she knew that this is the place suffering heavy influence of Agent Orange or dioxin. The parents of the victims that she met are all civilians. They were exposed to Agent Orange dioxin when collecting scrap and fishing in Biên Hồng Lake. Heather heard Hồ Quang Thái parents in Hòa Bình Ward, Biên Hòa City, recount the day fishing in Biên Hồng Lake and their consequences today is a difficult life. Each trip of Heather today is a sharing, a plea wishing to ease the pain on each body. This is the third time I have a chance to visit Biên Hòa. Each time I come here, I know more about the ravages of Agent Orange on people and the environmental around Biên Hòa Airport area where poison has stroked deep into the ground. When hearing a man here telling the story of his livelihood by catching fish in the lake at the airport, I do not imagine how his feeling was. He did not even blame the U.S. government and chemical companies. The present situation is very difficult for this man's family because of the Agent Orange. I'm really thrilled to share the difficulties and concerns of his family. When is the cleansing of toxic chemicals in Biên Hòa Airport conducted thoroughly by the U.S. government? When is the generation of children are no longer born diseased due to Agent Orange or dioxin? That is the question always be in Heather's heart. A person who is patiently walk on her disabled feet to fight justice for victims of Agent Orange. In the journey to Vietnam, to the land of Biên Hòa, Đồng Nai, hither with a friendly smile, with tears in her eyes when talking about the pain of herself. She has become the messenger of love, of empathy without border. She is a brave warrior of the victims of Agent Orange, who has American citizenship. Her voice and tireless moves will contribute to the struggle for justice for Agent Orange victims throughout parts of the world. The story of an American woman named Heather A. Bosher and her trip to the land of Biên Hòa, Đồng Nai will be surely long, since here her father and American soldiers have done bad things that they themselves cannot imagine, which were spraying toxic chemicals over many areas of Vietnam. But its effects lasting 50 years later is still very bad. She will continue to ease the pain of children for women who are victims of Agent Orange. She wished their family's life would be better. The road is long and full of thorns, but we certainly believe that Heather A. Bosher is not alone. She will be stronger in the journey with the victims of Agent Orange, and we will overcome any difficulties with her.